Welcome to episode 2 of my Dark Ops Challenge Guide. If you missed the first video, it was in regards to the Fresh Start Challenge. A link to that can be found in the outro as well as in the description. Today's challenge is appropriately titled Trick Shot. Destroy an HC XD car with a combat axe. The reward for completing this challenge is the Trick Shot calling card, which depicts a Jack playing card holding a gun and dripping blood. Before I get to strategy and tips for this challenge, let's discuss the two key components involved. First, the combat axe. This is simply a retrievable axe that causes instant death on impact. The downside is that it requires a lot of practice to become truly effective with it. The axe is highlighted through walls or terrain where it lands, so you can always retrieve it simply by walking over it. Scavenger will also replenish the axe, which is quite handy, and we'll talk about this in just a little bit. The combat axe can be a surprisingly useful item for an LMG or sniper build. And if you're skilled with it, you can instantly and silently dispatch an attacker at close range, faster even than switching to a pistol. But there's an issue with the combat axe that I honestly believe is a glitch, and that's its throw time. In Black Ops 2, the combat axe was extremely practical when paired with the Fast Hands perk, since you could release it instantly. In Black Ops 3, however, there seems to be a delay from when you push the button to the actual in-game release of the axe. Even though the Fast Hands perk doesn't say it helps you throw equipment faster in this game, it appears to do just that. Just nowhere near as fast as in other Call of Duty games. For instance, I slowed down a few clips of me throwing the axe with Fast Hands and without. I slowed it to the bare minimum just to see how fast the actual release was. Without Fast Hands, from the start of the throw animation to the first frame after the release, it was 0.417 seconds. And with Fast Hands, it decreased to 0.350 seconds. Even when making these clips as slow as possible, it was still just a blip and hard to tell the difference. The combat axe used to be a backup plan for me on certain classes that I had, meaning I'd toss it if I was out of options, or the situation needed a speedy solution. Now, however, the axe is best used for people you know will be turning the corner. If you see a red dot coming your way on the minimap, you can attempt to lead with the axe by throwing it before they round the corner. Quite the injustice compared to the old variants. The next ingredient for this challenge is the HC XD car. Back and updated for Black Ops 3, the reliable remote-controlled explosive delivery device returns, but this time with some new tricks. When activated, you control the car and you can boost, double jump, and wall hover. You can also manually detonate the car at short range to kill enemies nearby. This trick is quite effective on objectives or choke points. When Black Ops 3 first came out, Flak Jacket completely countered this streak, meaning even if the car rammed straight up your ass, you'd still survive. On December 8th, however, a hotfix was introduced that buffed the car, and as such, it's now possible to kill a Flak Jacket user with this car. Simply touch them with the car and detonate and they will die. If the car isn't touching them, however, they'll still survive. So the only way to guarantee a kill 100% of the time when utilizing the HC car is by ramming it directly into someone and having it detonate. Instant death guaranteed. I have a strong hunch that this streak will be utilized more often once everyone realizes that it can now kill 100% of the time. Which is a good thing because the more HC cars that are utilized, the more opportunity challenge hunters will have to complete this challenge. So first of all, I did a lot of testing to see if there was anything that would make hitting the car easier. I tested every piece of equipment I could find. The EMP grenade, as anticipated, completely destroyed the streak in its tracks. The trophy system had no effect at all. The concussion grenade, flash grenade, and shock charge all impact the car, but it's questionable as to whether or not this helps. What they do is launch the HC car straight into the air. There's no distortion on the driver's screen, but I guess it could be a minor nuisance since you fly high in the sky, which may or may not throw you off track if you're driving it. You may be able to utilize this to your advantage, but we'll discuss this shortly. There's really only a handful of things that will aid you in completing this challenge. The first of which is the Engineer perk. If you haven't seen my review of this perk yet, I believe this is the best perk in Tier 3. Engineer lets you spot enemy gear and streaks through the walls, highlighting them in a bright orange color. Not only this, but they also are painted orange on the minimap. This perk is invaluable to aiding you in your quest for this trick shot. Knowing exactly where the HC car is will help you be able to rush to it immediately. Or, better yet, it'll allow you to set up shop in the right location so you can be awaiting its arrival. The second piece of advice is to try and find a slight height advantage. For some reason, I find it much easier to hit a car when I've got a little bit of height. Some maps have items that are able to be stood on, and aiming down from above often can help you be more precise. Next, I highly advise you not to run the cold-blooded perk. If you run this perk, you will no longer have the red triangle painted on your character for the enemy to see. You actually want to be targeted by the HC car. It's not a bad idea to play dumb either. What I mean by that is you can stand still and not move. Once the driver spots the red triangle on you and sees you're not moving, they may assume you'll be an easy kill. This will also more than likely have them drive in just a straight line to reach you, rather than boosting and double jumping all over the place. So remember when I mentioned that Scavenger replenishes the combat axe? Well, in the right situations, you can use this to your advantage. If there's recently been a massacre in your location, you may be in luck. The more dead bodies, the more scavenger packs. The more packs, the more combat axes are available for you to rapidly throw. You can only hold 2 axes at a time. However, you can have up to 4 on the ground. After 4 are deployed on the ground, they start to vanish. And the only way to achieve 4 axes is to run Scavenger. So once you deploy all 4 axes on the ground, you can basically have a continuous throw of axes for an unlimited amount of time, or until one gets away from you. It's possible to set yourself up a trap like this. The only drawback being you'd have to hope that the enemy who calls in the HC car is in your location. If he is, you'll basically have 4 attempts to throw an axe at the car and hit the trick shot. Lastly, game mode definitely matters for this challenge. To be honest, I'm not a vicious admirer of Team Deathmatch. I typically play objective game modes. More often than not though, people playing objective game modes run higher up streaks. It seems to be different in TDM though. Streaks are very hard to come by, so that means people tend to flock towards the lower ones. I did a little research in regards to this over a few days' time. I played 25 matches of domination and only saw the HC car 6 times. I then played 25 matches of TDM only, and surprisingly I saw 19 HC cars. And this was before the car even got buffed. So that's not quite seeing 1 a match, but it was very close. To further increase your odds of seeing these explosive cars, you can run the care package yourself. HC cars are very common in packages, and chances are your teammates won't be willing to waste their time capturing it. The engineer perk will also allow you to re-roll these. So if you get one, simply leave it for the enemy. This will give yourself 1 extra chance at the challenge. So let's do a quick class setup now. First, I recommend an SMG or a shotgun so that you can ensure you move at 100% movement speed. For perk 3, as I mentioned, I highly recommend Engineer. Being able to see where the car is at all times is crucial. The fact that it can also reroll care packages is a bonus. For perk 2, I recommend Scavenger. Again, being able to collect your axe from a scavenger pack is quite handy. If you don't have this unlocked yet, I'd recommend Fast Hands for the very minuscule bonus to throwing the axe faster. For perk 1, I'd say Flak Jacket. While it's true that the HC car can now successfully kill Flak Jacket users, they have to be literally touching you for this to happen. And since you should have the Engineer perk on, this should never happen. You should definitely equip 2 combat axes, which requires the Danger Close wildcard. Of course, it is possible to do this challenge with only 1 equipped, but it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to get caught with your pants down if you miss your first throw. The rest of the class is up to you. If you want to utilize the combat axes in every game class, I highly recommend adding the perk 3 Gung Ho. This will allow you to throw the axe while on the run, and while this won't help you with the trick shot challenge itself, it will help you in tomahawking people's faces off. And that, as they say, is that. Play Team Deathmatch to increase your odds of running into an HC car. Utilize the Engineer perk to pinpoint the car's exact location. If one is coming straight for you, you can play dead in hopes that they attempt to ram it straight into you without boosting or wall hovering, giving you ideal conditions for at least 2 chances at destroying it. If the map you're playing on has an object you can stand on, a height advantage may help out your aim with the combat axe. If you still struggle to find cars to destroy, run the care package yourself in hopes that you can leave it for the enemy to take and use against you. If you're finding cars difficult to hit on the ground, you can utilize tactical equipment such as shock charges and concussion grenades to pop the car into the air, making a straight throw a possibility. If you don't plan on using the combat axe as one of your routine classes, simply keep a similar class as I've outlined in this video in reserve. If you hear the announcer mention HC cars more than once, it's a safe bet that someone is running the streak, and you could easily swap to that class for the remainder of the match. Never give up in attempting to run towards the car. Even if you die multiple times while the car is still active, keep pushing on. Your efforts will sometimes be rewarded. If all else fails, do a YY fakey ladder shot and chuck 2 of those hair scalping axes to the sky and pray. And who knows, you may just get lucky.